Normally, I wouldn't even address these comments because, like, everyone's so quick to judge. Like, oh my God, you went on Keemstar's podcast just assuming I'm Team Keem. I want to be Keem's friend. I'm on Keem's side. When podcasts are meant to be discussions and going back and forth with someone that you heavily disagree with, and this whole thing started with me coming for Keemstar's relationship, and I just thought talking about it on a bigger platform. And I've gone on people's podcasts who have triggered me in the past. Gabby Hanna trying to make peace. I met Ethan going on his podcast because he made a video saying that I looked like a corpse and a wrestler. And I do believe he's changed since then, making fun of like female presenting people's looks. But I don't know if he would have changed. Maybe he wouldn't have changed if I didn't go on. I just like having discussions with people on podcasts. Everyone take things so personally and like think they're personal attacks. When I'm my own person, I go on people's podcasts. It's what I did before. It's what I do now. It's what I do, period. People. My going on Mom's Basement was not attacking Ethan. I had my own issue with Keemstar. I made the first video towards Keemstar. Ethan inserted himself in it and his channel got banned. Keem did not do the strike on his channel. Once again, me going on another person's podcast does not mean I'm pro them. I like to have discussions with people, especially about people I disagree with. I like to have open discussions. I like to have like clear air. Again, that's how I met Ethan, was when he did a video trashing me. I tried to go on Gabby's podcast to make some sort of peace. I have my own issues with Keem that I can talk about. Ethan lied to his huge fan base about me wanting to fire crew when that did not happen. He admitted it didn't happen. He screenshotted my private text and sent him to his crew to villainify me, to make me look awful. If you want to talk about her and people doing stuff out of spite, this Trisha Paytas for Gabby Anna was the first families after our frenemies ended. In the podcast, they talk about me being the same as Gabby Hanna. This was the most triggering shit for me at the time. I met Ethan. I went on his podcast for the first time after he did a video saying that I looked like a WWE wrestler about to slam down, that I looked like a corpse sitting in my casket. And I still went on his podcast because I believe in having healthy debates with people, discussions, figuring out who this person is. And at the end of the day, it's like my job. It's what I do. I talk to people. I went on Gabby Hanna's podcast after she told my boyfriend at the time that I had herpes. And I went on there because I really genuinely wanted to know she was sorry. She cut a lot of that out. I was like, do you have any remorse about that? Like, don't you see that I was trying to have this discussion about like how she couldn't see that was like the most disturbing thing someone can do. You think I go on Keemstar's podcast and I'm just like, I love you. You don't think I call him out on this shit? FaZe himself was there. I was like, dude, that's toxic. There's toxic shit. There's toxic shit he's done. I don't shy away from debate and discussion. Ethan hasn't talked to me. We have not talked personally since Frenemies ended. Ethan continues to let people hate on me over lies he told in his videos. I told Keemstar straight up, like, I'm not pro Keem. I said, I'm more Team Ethan, I'm not pro Keem. And we're not going to be friends after this. Like, I say that on the podcast. Like, it benefits people a lot more to have, you know what, when Ethan was going to debate Steven Crowder, I was so excited about it because I love when people can have debates and discussions and like opposite opinions. That's why I like people like The View and people like Frenemies, because we were opposites that had different opinions. Logan and KSI did a podcast together and got 10 million views. Me and Gabby did a podcast together and it was her most viewed pod. I think it's healthy to sit down and talk to a person. Especially Keem and Ethan's beef, it's always became more serious. They lost sponsors last summer. This summer, they're like, Ethan got a strike. Like, I wish Ethan and Keemstar could like talk because I think it would help a lot. But I've always gone on people's podcasts. I need to stay relevant. That's how my job has worked. I've gone on everyone's podcast and I'll go on Jeff Wittick's. Ethan himself has said that he would have James Charles on his podcast. Okay, you're going to have James Charles, who's an actual P word, but you can't have a discussion with Keemstar. Ethan himself has said that he'd have James Charles on his podcast. I remember everybody was against having Jeff Wittick on Frenemies, you're going to have James Charles, who's an actual P word, and I was like, no, you can't have a discussion with Keemstar. We should have a discussion. Like I remember everybody was against having Jeff Wittick on Frenemies. You're going to call out people, you're going to have issues with people. Like, have a discussion. See where this person's coming from. People flip it. That is the whole point. You're gonna call out people. You're gonna have issues with people. Like, have a discussion. See where this person is coming from. That's a huge thing. If he had David Dobrik, Jason, I hope he does. Like, I now have those discussions with those people. Like, whenever I ever said that thing, what? It's crazy how quick people judge. Like, I now was very nice to me in person. Like, whenever I ever said that, like, I called out gross behavior. The tweeting the pictures, I was like, that is gross. That is gross behavior. Like, why did you do that? Don't him, you know? Like I call it out. I called out gross behavior. The tweeting the pictures, I was like, that is gross. That is gross behavior. Like, why did you do that? I was like, wow, you're gonna air my breakdowns, but you can't air one thing that you did wrong. Like closure and peace. And then when he didn't air it, I was like, wow, you're going to air my breakdowns, but you can't air one thing that you did wrong? Like, for Ethan, the way I do with David and Jason. Why? Because they can't admit they did something wrong. Like, I admit I'm in the wrong, but Ethan wasn't perfect in the situation. Neither was David and Jason. And I hang on to that because they don't think they did anything wrong. And they're happy to let people hate on me for something that just wasn't true. He admitted in that final episode that he screenshotted my text and sent them to the crew. And that's where all things started, and that he had made some mistakes, but he can never show that. He can never prove that, and he has to blame other people and it's just like, and I will always hang on to that resentment. If someone can just admit that there was some wrongdoing, there's some closure, there's some peace, I can move on. And like, that's why I'm still talking about David and Jason to this day, because they can't admit it. I don't have that closure. And it's not even closure. It's just taking accountability. When someone can't admit their wrongdoings or that they lied about something, or it just frustrates me to no end. So while I have resentment towards Ethan in that last episode and him just like really not giving a shit that I'm getting so much hate, and the same thing he did with my sister uploading her TikTok when she deleted it, like I do have resentment for that. Not everything I do is about him. It's long gone. The way he inserted himself into me and Keemstar's drama, being like they're going against each other, like inserting it into our thing, like he did that to himself. You know, so naturally it's going to be brought up because he did a video about it, and that's the video that got removed or whatever. My initial video about Keemstar had nothing to do with Ethan. I didn't mention Ethan in it. He was on a Twitch saying that he knew how much I made on all my websites and stuff, and how this other girl was making way more than me. He's constantly taking jabs at me. His parents talking about my weight. His parents saying I'm just like Gabby Hanna, when he knows how triggering that is to me when I begged him not to and he puts me in the same freaking thumbnail. And then he did it again. He's been complaining that I talk about him, but then he did it again a week ago, putting my name and picture in the thumbnail. It's the hypocrisy for me. Think about this. Ethan had no problem airing 3 of my mental breakdowns where I literally lost my shit and went out the door. He had no problem. Why? Because I was in the wrong. I was 100% in the wrong of those. And up until the last episode, yeah, I acted shitty. But then that final episode where we're talking peaceful and he admit he did some shit and that he straight up lied, because I had him, we sat there, I recorded the whole thing because I know people fucking edit shit. And I was like, find me this. And he looked, he was searching, he was trying to find where I said I wouldn't show up if Dan was there. I was trying to see where it was. Like, it didn't. And like, it just sucks because he's like, you know what? Yeah, I fucked up too. And it's like, that's all like I would have needed to hear publicly, but I'm still getting bashed for it. I'm still all this stuff. Even now, me going on a podcast has nothing to do with Ethan. I've talked about the situation on other podcasts, but because it's Keemstar, it's like, oh, like this makes me sad. I've been a YouTuber 15 years. I've been around before everybody. This is how I stay relevant. This is what I do. I talk to people. I have discussions. So I started this. I had an issue with Keem and his relationship because it triggered something in me. I started this video. It was between me and Keemstar. So when Keem's like, will you go on my podcast the same way? Ethan had asked me when we had beef the same way. Gabby Hanna had asked me when we had beef. I said yes. I would go on Jeff's. I would go on David's. I would go on anybody that I've had issues with, because it can go bad. It can go up. I just want to have discussions. I think it's what people should do. Because I truly think people do change. And I think Ethan is the prime example of that. He did a video. The first video he ever did about me was making fun of me, Tana, Nikita, saying they looked like Twinkies, whales, all this stuff like that. And I do believe he's changed. And you know what? I'm going to take credit for that. I don't think because he was talking about Lana Rhodes' peanut, all this stuff, just like degrading women based off their looks, right? And he's not like that anymore. And I truly do believe he's changed. And I'm going to give myself a little credit because I went on that podcast. We did become friends. We had a whole podcast together. And I think he grew and changed. And I think that's the beauty of having discussions with people. I don't care how many people are like, just get over it, get over it. I don't have to get over shit. I don't have to get over shit whenever. I'm sorry, I don't. This is something that eats at me daily. Not just the hate comments, not just thing, but that like the way he presented me at the end, and then just he corrected it at the final episode and then just decided, no, we're going to scrap it because blaming other people once again, never him taking like just being like that he's a coward. But this is just another gross attempt at making something about him when it's not. We had a shitty ending, but I'm not going on all these podcasts to spite him. I did this before him. I talked about whoever I want to talk about, whoever's affecting me, whatever's going on. Frenemies was a huge thing. Frenemies ending is a huge thing. Like, why can't I have a platform to talk? You talked all you wanted about me. Like, I'm not allowed to talk? And again, I had issues with Keemstar. I've called out my issues with Keemstar. We're not best friends. Like, what? People haven't even seen this episode where Keemstar even admit that he's been ignorant about mental health. We had these conversations on it. Damn, people need to chill. Furthermore, there's a second co-host, FaZe Banks, who I've been brutal to, brutal back to me. I misspoke on him, and I wanted to clear that air too. This is, believe it or not, like, I do have a life outside of Ethan, outside of Frenemies. I had a career before. I'm gonna have a career after. Like, I've been here long enough. I've gone through Shane and Jeffrey and David and Ethan. Like, there'll be another fandom that, you know, I'm gonna be involved in. Like, that's just what I do. That's how I do. I think it's smart. Whatever. But I'm my own person. And I had my own words about FaZe and misspeaking, and I wanted to clear air with him. There was my own stuff I had to get off my chest between me and FaZe. That had nothing to do with Ethan. So it's like, why am I not allowed to do that? Why am I not allowed to do that? It's just the double standard of, like, I'm shaking. It's just such a double standard. It's just, I'm so sick of it. The manipulation, trying to make me look like I'm this horrible person. He's the victim. It's just, I'm over it. I think Ethan and Keemstar should have a discussion. Even if their hate is real or not. I don't know. I've never got into it with Ethan. We never talk about it on a personal level off camera. Like, if he actually hates him, if it's just for show, because he's doing the puppet, he's poking the bear and stuff too. I don't know if it's just for show, they like the beef, or if it's real. I don't know. Either way, Keem said today that he would be open to talk to Ethan, and they should do it the same way he did the Steven Crowder one, minus the bait and switch. But, like, they both film it. Whether that's just for, you know, having the proof or, you know, the clout, whatever it is. But having discussions with someone that you, like, just don't see eye to eye with, that you think is an awful person, that's big on the pot, like, it's important, especially now. Do you want to keep losing sponsors? Do you want to keep having strikes on the channel? Like, just clearly, you don't have to agree with someone. You don't have to like the person. I just don't understand why you can't have a discussion with a person without people being like, oh my gosh, this is awful. It makes no sense to me. I think discussions are important, and if you're gonna call out someone and their shitty behavior and their poor behavior, talk to them like we did with Jeff, right? And I think it did get through to Jeff. I mean, he deleted videos. Like, it does get through to people. And maybe it doesn't, whatever, try. If you're gonna call someone out and you're gonna disagree with them so vehemently, like, talk to them. I've always been open to discussion. I went back to talk with Ethan to, like, get closure, to get peace. I didn't force him to. He had asked me to do it for the merch, but when the merch sold out or whatever, I don't know. It, like, he just pulled the plug. I didn't force him to. I didn't ask. He asked me. I'll continue to go on other people's podcasts. I have nothing to do with Ethan. That this is all my stuff. I have my own person. I am my own person with my own issues. I call people out. I'm not going to cower and be like, I'm not going to talk to them, or I'm going to ignore them or block them. Like, I'm, you know, if I'm dealing with shit, yeah, I'm dealing with shit, but I'm in a place mentally where I can talk about tough issues and issues that matter to me. And I'll have those debates, and I'll continue to. And it's about me. It's about me. I'm not reading any comments online because, like, the internet is just literally so stupid on so many levels. Like, it is stupid. At the end of the day, it is stupid. But I take pride in not cowering away from people I have disagreements with, people that don't like me. Like, I will always talk to, confront respectfully people that I have issues with, and I call it out. I don't know why people haven't even heard the episode and, like, this is awful. It's like, you haven't even heard it. Like, I saw the hate comments going on. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of backlash. I'm not afraid of looking stupid or dumb or being caught up in something. Like, if it is what it is, that's what it is. The first ever H3 podcast, there was many times I looked stupid and dumb and called out, and it was embarrassing. But I went back, and you know what? That's what you do. That's a podcast. That's growth. That's maturity. That's entertainment. He can reach out and talk to me. He has my number if he wants, but he's using me as clickbait and titles and thumbnails still. So what? I don't know. I wore Frenemies merch on the podcast because I said on the podcast that I wore Team Ethan than Pro Q. Like, people just don't understand. Like, oh my God, that's so disrespectful. I love Frenemies. I love what we did. I still stand by it. Like, it was my way of being like, yo, I'm not taking sides, okay? I asked the questions. I was like, oh my God, did you do this? Like, I was asking questions about the situation. I didn't go on there just to be like, I love you, Keemstar. Like, what? And now I'm trending and I'm getting all this hate because of Ethan's tweet and stuff like that. And it's like, I didn't even do anything. The podcast isn't even out yet. I don't want to drag this out. I don't, but I'm sorry. There is still so much resentment and hurt I have from being completely trashed by Ethan on that episode he did right after. In the matter of 48 hours, he just completely annihilated my character in so many ways. He was totally fine with me, but then just decided to do an absolute hit piece on me. When in reality, he was the one who sent our private conversations to his entire staff the night before we were supposed to film again. And of course they wouldn't want to film with me. Like, why would you send our private conversations to your whole staff? Like, he did that. He admitted that on the last episode of the podcast. I have a lot of bad feelings about that. It does not sit well with me. This is all very fresh. This is something that consumes me on the daily. It hurts me so much and it eats at me so big to be like, just to be lied on. And for everyone being like, how are you never wrong? I'm always in the wrong. I'm always apologizing. I do a lot of wrong shit. I just wish other people could admit the same. Do you know how sad I was that Frenemies was over? Do you know how many times I quit Frenemies and then we film again Monday? Everyone still blames me for Frenemies being over. When in reality, when Ethan out of his own mouth on that last episode said, yeah, like I kind of fucked up, like I fucked it up. Because he sent private messages between us to his crew, which obviously they're going to have some type of feeling about. Like, why wouldn't you? But those were meant for me, Ethan. And he showed it to the entire crew, thus resulting in people not wanting. I was ready to film the next day. I was ready to do it. Thus him telling me like, oh, don't come film. Like, let's just take a couple days to cool off. Like all this stuff. When he was the one manipulating the situation, lying about the situation, then lying to the audience saying I wanted the entire crew fired. It still rips me up. It still tears me up so much. And the fact that he admitted it, but because it makes him just a tiny bit guilty in an equal part of Frenemies ending, it's just like, and then this trying to just really just sending hate my way for literally no reason because no one's even heard the fucking podcast yet. I don't care. He has a way bigger fan base, a way louder fan base. They send me hate. They continue to send me hate. They continue to harass my sister. My sister's not even on social media anymore. She's not on TikTok. She's not anywhere because she made a stupid TikTok, deleted it right away, but now it lives on forever on the H3 podcast channel and the highlights under the title like Trisha's sister, whatever. She took it down. She had remorse. She was sorry, and you're still blasting that. Like, the fans are so nasty and so brutal. They run my sister off social media. It's the worst. It's the most negative, toxic fan base, and it flipped in the matter of 24 hours. And now the tweet again. This makes me sad. You haven't even seen the podcast. You don't even know what I said. Like, it's not even out. This isn't a personal attack. I'm my own person. And now I'm getting so much hate again. It's just, that to me is toxic bullying, harassment, taking use of your fan base. Like, you want me out of your life. Like, stop talking about me. Stop putting me as the thumbnail, the title, the clickbait. Don't say, oh, I'm dragging this on and talking about when you're doing it too. I'm so frustrated and it's just so annoying. I kind of don't even care anymore. I'm just logging off. I just don't care. I'm logging off for the day. I don't care. Donna Klein, Ethan's mom, I'm so sick of this bullshit. I'm so sick of this bullshit. Can't wait to go to her wedding night. And you were taking off the invite the minute you sent Moses that text. They all know what that text was. On the last episode of Frenemies, which we also recorded as well. Everyone was recording it. I brought that up. I said, why would your mom text the most vile, disgusting? I can't even speak it right now. I cannot speak it right now because she put blame and the weight of something so heavy on me that I have to wait this out now with it because of her. She's a vile scum. I cannot repeat. I can't even put out what she said. And when I asked Ethan, I'm like, your mom texted this? Like that's something that's like the nastiest thing I've ever heard from anybody. And he's like, well, I told her not to text that. It's disgusting. What she placed on me is evil. It's downright evil. I bit my tongue when she's talked about me and compared me to Gabby. I bit it. But this, she put a burden on me that I will not talk about for a few months, but it's the most disgusting shit. Blaming me for the most vile shit. Ethan sent a hate mob on my sister for making a TikTok that she deleted within an hour. What Ethan's mom texted Moses about me, putting this burden on me that if anything were to happen, it's on me, putting that is an evil monster shit. The fact that she even texted, I can't even speak it because the fact that she even texted it and put that in writing was so vile and disgusting. I have never met a more evil, conniving bitch in my life. Never to put that on me. You do not know me. You don't even know Moses like that. And then she has the audacity complaints that Moses didn't text her back. It was disgusting. Moses was shook, did not tell me about it for such a long time. And then once I heard, I've been carrying this. I've been sick to my stomach over this. I am just so terrified of this, of what she said. And I'm on eggshells. I won't even speak it right now because it's that disgusting. Do not get involved in my wedding that you were not invited to after that nasty, vile comment. Do not even talk about my relationship. Do not even talk about me because you weren't there. All of this stuff is between me and Ethan. If Ethan wants to talk to his family about this, it's fine. But it's not a personal matter. It's between me and Ethan lying, Ethan being a coward, Ethan being a hypocrite. I have admitted to being all of those and more. Ethan can't. And Donna chiming in on this after I would hide in embarrassment and shame after what she texted to Moses and other people that Moses knows. She texted the same thing. It's vile. It's the sickest thing a human could ever say about somebody. And to even speak that, to even text it, what she texted into existence is so disgusting. And it shakes me to the core. It makes me sick. You're not invited to the wedding because of everything that's been done on the internet. I mean, even including your own son, Ethan, who said some of the sickest shit about people. What you said is the sickest I've ever seen. It's disgusting, disgusting behavior. Ethan keeps complaining, oh, Trisha can't stop talking about me. A week ago, you put me in the title and the thumbnail. On Frenemies, you did a whole episode, Trisha Paytas for Gabby Handy, when you know she triggers me, comparing me, saying I'm the same person, that they were the same person, that I'm a liar. Show me a lie. Oh, that's right, I caught you in the lies on the last Frenemies. Dad talking about my weight and you laughing at it and shit. That is some fucked up shit. My sister went into hiding after you bullied her on your platform. You are a bully. I don't believe in deep platforms. I don't believe in strikes, but you are a bully and you harass people the same. Do not act like you are above, high and mighty. And that goes for your mom. Don't act like you guys are above, high and mighty, that you can't be touched. You're putting stuff on the internet. You're still talking about me. I'm allowed to do the same. It wasn't personal, but you're making it personal. Bringing my wedding, bringing all this shit. It's vile. The stuff she said is vile. Nothing I did, nothing anyone did has warranted that kind of burden, that kind of weight on somebody. You are the biggest hypocrite. You can talk about everyone you want, but the minute no one else can talk about you.